One of the major indications that the living thing is healthy is hunger. That is why when you fall sick, the first thing you lose is your appetite. Hunger is proof of health both biologically and in terms of your life and destiny. So if you're going to make constructive and deliberate progress in your life, you will need to be hungry. My name is Olem, and with this platform, I help find purpose to live a meaningful and an impactful life. So there's this famous story of Socrates, right, the philosopher, and his apprentice or disciple, you may call him, came to him and asked him that, how can I be more knowledgeable? I want to be so knowledgeable. I want to get a double portion of the knowledge you have. And Socrates told him that for you to get that level of knowledge, then nothing else will have to matter to you. And to prove this, he dragged him to the river, quite literally, took him to the river. And Socrates is quite a strong man, according to history. And he dipped his head into the river, put him inside the river. And the guy was gasping for breath. And Socrates pulled him out. And he asked him, when you were under the water, what was the one thing you wanted most? And he said, I just wanted air. I wanted to breathe. I needed air. That's the only thing that was in my mind, and that's the only thing that I was thinking about. And Socrates, the wise, told him that for you to get the level of knowledge and to be as knowledgeable as you want to be, that's the kind of desperation you want to have. Nothing else will matter to you. You need that level of desperation as you had for air while you were underwater for what you want to do, which is gain knowledge. I say that because when I started in my own life and destiny, I was desperate. And don't get me wrong, I'm not where I want to be, but listen to me, I'm not where I used to be, okay? Especially if you're a young person and you're starting from the rock bottom, which is really that's the reason I'm making this video, especially if you're a young person. And this video might cut across most segments of people, but my primary target for this video is young people who are starting from the rock bottom. So if that's you, please pay attention. So I started from way back. In fact, the fact that I couldn't speak English at the age of 16, right? I attended one of those primary schools and subsequent junior secondary schools where even our teachers were teaching us with pidgin. My school, primary school, back home, when I was in the village, my teachers were teaching me English with my language. Fun fact. So at the age of 16, I couldn't speak English. And if I wanted to go ahead to do the things I wanted to do with my life, of course, I would need to be able to speak English. And this made me desperate. I wanted a change so badly that I began to do things that I wouldn't say I regret, but I began to do a whole lot of stuff. I was reading, I was sleeplessly going through things, you know. I was desperate, I was hungry. And I say this to you because when I look back, I kind of see how everything factored in to make me the person I am today. Not to, I'm not boasting or trying to say I'm where I want to be in my life. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I've made progress and I've seen my life literally change right within my sight. I've seen some of my dreams come true. I've seen things that I couldn't do before and now I can do them. I've seen rooms I couldn't walk into before. Now I have access. It feels so amazing. Literally, things changing so rapidly and very deliberately, yet by divine order. I remember when I've always known that if I'm going to, I read and I know health is very important. And ladies and gentlemen, I remember I used to jog, run around a certain field barefooted. My greatest regret is that I didn't capture all these things in pictures, most of them. Some of them I do have them, but the time they would unfold. But you can imagine, because I wanted to keep fit, I would go to a field. This is not a field with grass. It was bare field with sand, stones in fact. And I would run around the field barefooted, jog, and try to keep myself fit. Today I can afford to pay for a gym. Today you probably have seen some things online. You see me. So progress has been made. But I relate this to you because I realized that for me, that desperation was in it, right? That hunger was in it. I was so dissatisfied with my reality that I knew that things had to change. And for things to change, I have to start doing things for change, right? So I started reading sleeplessly. I started networking, trying to meet people. I remember the first person I paid to meet, great mentor today, a female. I found what she was doing online. I DM'd her and I told her I wanted to meet her, and she charged me. And I tell you, I emptied my entire account as at then, nothing much back then. Back then it was much, but maybe now not, right? Even now it's still quite substantial. I emptied my entire account just to meet this woman. I was desperate. I wanted things to change. Just for an hour, and our meeting even lasted less than an hour. But I knew I had to start doing things. I couldn't sleep. I was palpitating. I was dissatisfied with my reality. I paid that woman. I almost trekked back home because I couldn't afford transportation after the meeting. Transported myself there, and when I was coming back with the only money I had in my pocket, I went to where I was supposed to take a cab to come back home, and I was told that there was a little increase on the transport. I had already calculated this would take me to and fro, but when I got there, they said there's a little increase. So I literally had to beg for someone to pay for me, to complete the money for me. I was desperate, right? I'm saying this especially to you if you're a young person. Listen to me. If you're starting from the rock bottom, don't pity yourself. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to do things that others are not willing to do. And guess what? That's what it takes. The reason why you're going to get the life that they are not going to get is because you going after this video, you're going to get willing to do the things that they are not willing to do. For you to get the life that they're not going to get, you have to do the things that they are not willing to do. That's it. It's not negotiable. It's not subject to bargain. That's what it will take. So if you're a young person and you're starting from the very rock bottom, no advantages, your parents didn't give you any leverage. Now, if your parents give you leverage, kudos to you, and please use it wisely, okay? Because you want to understand that your position right now, many people don't have it. They don't have that leverage you have. So don't be stupid, okay? Your dad is, well-to-do. Your mom is well-to-do. You've given some level of connection leverage, financial leverage. Use it wisely, build on it, and go ahead to fulfill the purpose that has been allocated onto you. But then if you're a very young person and you're starting from the rock bottom with no advantages, you need to get hungry. You need to get desperate. And here are reasons why hunger is important, especially in life and destiny. The first reason is that hunger is proof that your vision is still valid. Hunger is proof that your vision is still alive, right? Because a dead person doesn't get hungry, right? You must have known that. When you die, you don't get hungry. But when you're alive, no matter how much you eat, if you give yourself some time, you will get hungry. That happens both biologically and both in life and destiny, and also in life and destiny. You're going to, when you have a vision, the proof that that vision is still alive is that you will be hungry to bring that vision into reality. If you get to a position, if you get to a state where you're just nonchalant, you don't care, maybe you've even forgotten about this big dream or big vision you had, then that vision is dead. So kudos to you. I celebrate you. If there's a vision in your head right now and you're so dissatisfied, so eager, so anxious to bring it into being, you are on the right track. That's not a vala feeling. That's the feeling necessary for you to bet that vision. You need to be hungry. You need to be hungry for it. So hunger proves and validates that your vision is still alive. Secondly, hunger forces you out of your comfort zone. The thing is, you're not going to do the great things you want to do with your life in your comfort zone. And I say this to us, especially a generation where most of us are afraid of responsibility, a little thing that tries to keep us accountable or try to make us responsible for results or other people. I don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You want to be responsible. You want to take up responsibility first for yourself. First for yourself. Be responsible for yourself. Don't blame anybody for your life reality. Don't blame your parents. Don't blame your pastor. Don't blame God. Don't blame any. You are solely responsible for your current life reality. And that mentality gives you power. It places you in the driver's seat. It tells you that since your life thus far is as a result of your actions thus far, it means if you start to take different actions, you can drive your life in different direction. So you are on the wheel. You're handling the wheel. And that's the most empowering mindset you can have. So the first thing is to be responsible for yourself. I remember myself, it took my parents literally relocating to another place for me to gain my independence, right? I was 20, I moved out of my parents' house. I would have moved out anyhow, but God just had a way of doing his things, and my parents got a place somewhere else, and they relocated from where, we were staying, and then I had to get my own apartment. And trust me, that has been one of the best things to happen to me, because it gave me a level of independence and a level of responsibility that pushed me to begin to think like an adult. I began to think like an adult, because I would wake up. I shared a story on this platform sometime where I woke up and there was nothing for me to eat. If my parents were around, I would run to them, right? But I woke up, there was nothing for me to eat that day. And so I went to a place where there were cashews. I got there, I found no cashews. On my way back, I saw a tree with unripe mangoes. So I literally had to eat unripe mangoes that day. Now that told me I was my own backup. Nobody was coming to save me. So that's what hunger gives you. It forces you out of your comfort zone. Thirdly, hunger is a success strategy. You must have heard some of elite athletes, and some of them create imaginary enemies. Right? Nobody is really against them, but they are like, the world is against me. I got to prove something. Right? I'm burning the world, but the universe has to come on fire. Right? Sometimes it becomes too much, but most times it's a necessary inducement. That hunger is necessary. So you need to get hungry. It's a success strategy. Sometimes you create imaginary enemies for yourself. It's necessary. Something is going wrong. Something is going wrong. You remember past experiences. You remember people who don't believe in you. You get hungry to prove them wrong. Now, that shouldn't be your primary fuel. Inspiration should have a part to play. But hunger, desperation now, has a very important part to play, especially in the initial stage. For you to break through that initial resistance, you need to get hungry. The fourth reason is because hunger creates room for the new, right? If you're not hungry, then you putting more food into your stomach is stupid. You're going to throw up, or you're going to fall sick or something. But then when you're hungry, when there's a void to be filled, pay attention to this. When there's a void to be filled, then you get room for more. I was speaking to one of my mentors, Dr. Benson. He owns some of the biggest chains of hospitals in Africa and Nigeria. And I asked him why he was so humble. Amidst all these achievements, amidst all the successes, all the awards, all the establishments, all the structures, why is he so humble? And he told me that he has not done half of what he intends to do. So there's a void for him to fill. He's still hungry for more, that's why he's humble. There's a void. He has done amazing things, but then he has created more void. He's created that void for him to become more hungry for more. And that's something that you need to do also, especially if you've gained some level of success and if you're beginning to become complacent. Don't be complacent. Complacency is a strategy for the dying. When you become complacent, you start dying, okay?